Our team has been significantly reduced, but we continue our journey to the west of the African continent. Destination: Namibia, former German colony. Namibia has very low population density and falling birth rates due to AIDS epidemic. Our first stop is Windhoek, the capital of Namibia. Traces of German colonial past are evident everywhere. In the park surrounding Namibian Parliament, there are many statues of the first independently elected Namibian president, Samuel Nujoma. However, Namibian Parliament is housed in a Tintin Palace, former German administrative headquarters. Here is a train station, also of German construction, dating back to 1912. The city's architecture is a mixture of history and modernity. At the heart of contemporary banking and shopping district, there is a street market with local artifacts and souvenirs. Vendors are used to tourist traffic, and bargaining is welcomed. This woman, presiding over her wares, after listening to our discussing her inventory, encouraged the deal by saying, "Dobra cena, kupujemy!" National Museum, located in the city's oldest building, houses a collection of rock paintings. Surprisingly sophisticated, almost abstract depictions of animals and tribal life. We set out towards southwest, to the region for which the country is known and named, the oldest and driest desert on Earth, the Namib Desert. We are traveling in the van of chameleon safaris on predominantly gravel roads, scaring animals and raising towering clouds of dust behind us. On our way, we are crossing the Naukluft Mountains, some of the oldest formations on the planet. Baking heat during the day, almost freezing temperatures at night, and flooding rivers in the wet season all contributed to this dramatic landscape. Naukluft Mountains are home to many species of animals, among them gemsbok, or oryx, the most beautifully colored among antelopes. The angular composition of plains in different colors brings to mind Mondrian paintings. Oryx is hunted in Namibia for its meat. We had an opportunity to sample oryx steak and found it a bit too tough. Naukluft means narrow ravines, where time and extreme weather exposed layers of quartz, dolomite, and shale, the geological history of the region. What you see is our lodge in a desert. It consists of 32 Nama huts. Nama tribe's ancestral lands are now Kluft Mountains and adjacent areas. Long platforms suspended 3 to 4 feet above ground join all huts and the main buildings. They are well lit and safe for walking at night. The vistas from the lodge give us a taste of the emptiness and solitude that dominate the landscape of this part of Namibia. The huts look primitive on the outside but are equipped with all modern amenities: hot water showers, king-size beds, panoramic windows, and lounge chairs to admire amazing colors of the Namibian desert. Very early next morning, after our arrival, we set out to see the sunrise at dune number 45. It is very cold and windy. Crouching on a hill of moving sand, we are enthralled with the emerging shapes and changing colors. But with the rising light, we also see the vast expanse and emptiness of the landscape. There are no small features in this landscape. Nature is overwhelming. We are but tiny specks on a ridge of a giant dune. Here are the tracks we left in the sand, soon to be blown over by the incessant and unrelenting wind. Back at the bottom of dune 45, now that the sun is up, we take pictures of the dune, which is 150 meters high. There are a few scraggly trees and clumps of grasses at the base that manage to survive in this harsh environment. We rest under the acacia tree and eat a very simple early lunch of apples, energy bars, and cheese. Then we're off to visit Deadvlei and Sossusvlei. Very soon it will get hot, unbearably hot. We pass through the desert that is empty, yet tempting with constantly changing colors. Dunes have fantastic shapes and from a distance seem easy to climb. They come in two shades, beige and brick red. We are crossing the vast sea of sand, heading for a flat plain set amid sand dunes towering 200 to 300 meters above it. 300 meters is the height of the 60-story skyscraper. These are one of the biggest dunes on Earth. The white pancake you see on the screen is made of cracked, dry mud. It is difficult to even imagine, but once every few years, Touch-Up River during rainy season transforms this pancake into a blue-green lake surrounded by green vegetation and bird life. Now everything is dry and very, very hot. It seems this desert has been freshly painted for our enjoyment. In the afternoon, a welcome brief reprieve from the heat. We are visiting Sesrim Canyon, 15 million years old deposits of sand and gravel. The canyon is 30 meters deep and 1 kilometer long. The air is cool and there is a small breeze. This adventure is one of the highlights of our stay in Namibia. Springbok is the only gazelle in South Africa. They are widely known for jumping vertically as high as 2.5 meters into the air when startled or alarmed. It is called pronking. Here they were grazing peacefully, but I insisted on doing everything to make them pronk. The rest of the crew was filming, and the Springbok obliged by putting on a show for us. Their meat is edible. In Joburg, we feasted on Springbok carpaccio. We were traveling back to Windhoek when we encountered along the road these fantastic structures draped on trees. The architects are small birds called sociable weavers, the only species among birds that builds compound community nests. Nests can accommodate up to 500 birds. Inhabitants assist each other with feeding and care of the young. Nests serve as great protection from the elements and predators. 80% of sociable weavers' diet are insects, usually found on the ground or on plants. Here, they're enjoying Vitex cake. One of Namibia's most interesting tribes are Himba people. Presently, they number about 50,000. Their bodies are covered with otidze, a mixture of ochre pigment and butter. Otidze serves as protection from the sun, but also adheres to tribal beauty standards. Himba hairstyles indicate age and social status. Unmarried girls, for instance, are allowed only 2 braids. Traditionally, both men and women go topless, wearing just a loincloth. Their ancestral lands are in northern Namibia. But lately, groups of women took to traveling to where they trade tribal artifacts, wood and bone carvings, beads, jewelry, and block-printed cloth. With the money they earn on one trip, they can support their clan for a whole year. From Windhoek, there is a 2.5-hour flight south to Cape Town and back to civilization.
All day,
we're driving through Cape Town along the coastline, passing through communities which have breathtaking views of the sea.
time to play, you and me on a holiday. So let's set the day for a
We had begun our journey along the Atlantic coast. Now we're coming closer to where the two oceans meet. It is not a peaceful sight. Churning currents, dangerous rocks, and towering waves.
as fast, but it's a way to go if you want the ride to last. 'Cause around each curve there's a different view when we're taking.
Tall green mountains rise close to the shore. Most communities are desolate at their feet. It is a tranquil and picturesque landscape.
We'll have a ball, baby, no holds barred, and we won't need no credit card. We can.
Here we find the only penguin colony in Africa. Sheltered in a peaceful cove, the town of Boulders is home to African penguins. The residents of Boulders have mixed feelings about the penguins. They are proud to have the endangered species in their care, and they love to entertain tourists that come to see them. But they have to put up with the smell of penguin guano and the noise of their donkey-like calls day and night. The penguins in South Africa were left behind when one day Antarctica broke off from the continent and drifted away. They adapted very well to the warmer climate and enjoy beach life, surfing, swimming, and diving. Here are a few facts about penguins. They are monogamous and they mate for life. They take turns incubating eggs and caring for the young. The yolk of the penguin egg is not yellow, it is blue. To build nests, they burrow in sand but are also quick to use artificial structures. And yes, they wear tuxedos all year round. This gentleman happened to be partying all night at sea. His return home to his missus is somewhat hesitant and unsteady. The colony consists of about 2,200 birds. At Foxy Beach, the neighboring sheltered bays, there are plenty of squid, anchovies, and other small fish to support this population. Although on land they appear a bit clumsy and disoriented, in the water penguins are very efficient hunters and swimmers. They can swim at an average speed of 7 kilometers per hour and stay submerged up to 2 minutes. Feathers are waterproof, but penguins annually molt, that is, lose their waterproof feathers and grow new ones. During the period of 21 days, they are confined to land. Since they cannot hunt in the water, it is for them the time of severe diet. This gentleman is late for dinner, and the marital argument that follows, as usually, grows out of nothing. ends with one party leaving in defeat. Thanks heaven there are no doors to slam. Newborn chicks are covered in down, which is not waterproof. In about 60 days, they will grow their juvenile plumage, which is gray and blue and waterproof. At this time, they will join their parents and their swimming and fishing education will begin. Here we are at the Cape of Good Hope Nature Reserve, and the view is from the Cape Point. It is the very tip of the continent, where Atlantic and Indian Oceans meet. Towering vertical rocks and dizzying heights. And beneath the rocks, turquoise blue waters, the graveyard of ships wrecked on the treacherous boulders just under the surface. It is a beautiful breezy day, and the panorama of the coastline from the Cape Point is magnificent. We all agree it reminds us of California's Monterey coast. We're driving on a narrow, winding road leading to a small beach at the feet of the Cape Point. The beach is rocky and barely few meters wide, as if the mountains were reluctantly retreating before the force of the ocean. Waves crash with awesome force, rising columns of fine white spray. While on top of the Cape Point, it was breezy but pleasant. Here, the wind is ferocious. I thought I might fly away. And this is the proof that we actually made it to the very tip of the African continent, where rocks are treacherous, seas are high, but views are magnificent, and hope is still good.